You are listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts, a podcast featuring two crafty besties who love true crime and a good cup of joe. Dun 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 dun!
Good morning.
Good morning.
I think we're back on regular schedule.
Yeah, and we have our matching mugs.
And our different sweatshirts.
Different, but matching.
Matching and awesome.
I mean, they're really cool.
Today we are promoting our brand.
Yes. So, yeah, it's one of those. I already posted my coffee, so by the time this comes out, it will have been on there for a while.
Oh, okay.
Very exciting coffee because it's from Bones Coffee Company.
Oh, yes.
But it's just their dark roast. It's not a flavored one, and it's really, really good.
Ooh.
Like, real good. So
I like, so far, every one of their coffees.
Yeah, I love that it's a small batch situation with them. And their beans, sometimes when you get coffee beans, the oil hasn't released yet. That was perfectly like oily. Not overly so, but perfectly oily.
Yes.
So I got to geek out a little bit there.
I like it.
I keep my iPad screen from going dark mode.
Going night-night.
But yeah, I haven't done much crafting this week, but
yeah.
Yesterday was an exciting day because we put up a lean-to type thing in the chicken run so that they have some weather coverage.
Nice.
And put a little roost on it. So they're real excited about that. The rooster was like, burp, 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 burp. Burp, 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 burp. Yeah.
Is he adjusting?
He's trying. As long as I don't wear anything that's furry, it's okay. He doesn't attack me.
That's good.
Don't wear fur.
I mean, he is
don't wear fake
protector.
Fur. If it looks like if it looks like it's an animal, you're gonna get attacked. But I have been I'm wearing a shirt too.
Ooh,
look at that.
Yes, but you did it our way.
Okay, so exactly. So this is one of the crafts I have been doing like every day when I go to get dressed. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cut my t-shirt. So for anybody who's not watching, or you never watch, you don't know us that well. We basically cut everything. It's a thing.
I like to lovingly call them thrasher tanks.
Yeah, but this one's not even.
That one's more of like a cap sleeve.
Yeah, you can create a nice cap sleeve out of t-shirts. Just changing the angle of the sleeve. So instead of the sleeve being super low and almost like straight across, you angle up and out.
Right.
It's perfect. And then the neck hole. You got to be careful with the neck hole so it doesn't get too big.
Yeah.
Because then you'll be like, my shirt's falling off. Oh, no.
You show a little shoulder.
I can't handle doing that.
I know.
It gives me a neck ache. From like
like trying to adjust. Oh wait, yes. I'm off centered.
It's so weird how it does that to me. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
I mean, I'm that kind of special gal. All right. So yeah. Today, my lighting in here is fantastic this morning.
It is very nice. Mine is kind of dull and dreary, so I apologize if anyone's watching.
It's the golden hour.
I know it's really lovely. And mine's like,
it won't be very soon because it'll change, but whatever. All right. So, my episode today.
yes.
Stalkers.
Oh,
Holy shit balls.
mm-hmm.
Seriously? Yikes. OMG.
Stalkers are creeps. They're awful, all of them. Gross.
And there's many different types, and I don't think people really truly realize how many different types there are, or how many people are stalked just in the US every year.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot and a lot. So I'm going to get some, oh, hold on, trigger warnings. Stalking, abuse, murder. I mean, really, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. For statistics, though, I was shocked, like seriously shocked. According to Google, an estimated 12.1 million women and 3.7 million men in the US are stalked at some time in their life.
I believe it.
6 million women and 1.4 million men are stalked annually. That's a lot.
A lot of creeps.
That's a lot of stalkers. That's scary. Oh, yeah. So someone named Dale Hartley wrote an article that was published on psychologytoday.com in 2016.
Okay.
He called it the 6 types of stalkers plus one, which I think is perfect because he thinks that they need to add another type, basically.
Right.
So Dr. Ronald M. Holmes, professor emeritus of criminology, proposed the 6 categories of stalkers, and we're going to go through them.
All right.
People can get a good understanding.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people just see stalkers as someone secretly following and
right. And it's not always a violent thing.
Right.
It's not always a love thing. It's sometimes a friend.
People have an obsession. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes people want to be you, which like, yikes, that's the scariest kind.
What was that movie?
Yes.
Single White Female.
Oh, was that the one?
Where the girl answers the roommate.
What was the other one? There was another one that came out around that time where the woman was pregnant.
Oh.
And the other
Attraction?
Yes. Was that it? And she
That's
wanted
Michael
her
Douglas
baby.
And yeah.
God, that movie was fucking terrifying. Like when you look at it as like a reality thing, it's terrifying. Okay.
Yeah,
ready?
and stuff happens like that all the time. Yeah.
You look like you're like ready to crawl into a cave.
It's a little chilly.
That's okay.
I feel like I'm in the tundra.
Oh, well, maybe you are. The North Carolina tundra. It's a thing, right? Sure. Okay. Sure. So the first type is domestic. And I think that this is probably the most common kind that is happening because it's more of like, you can't leave me.
Right.
You'll never get away from me. And I know a lot of females that have had that kind of ex-husband or whatever who constantly hunts them down, which is real scary. And so that is stalking a former spouse or paramour. What a word.
Yes,
this is
quite a word.
And it does say here, this is the most prevalent kind of stalking and one which can manifest in the workplace. putting innocent bystanders at risk.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. The second type is lust. Serial predators who stalk victim after victim. Serial rapists and murderers may begin as lust stalkers. For example, Ted Bundy,
Mm-hmm.
which maybe we'll cover him someday.
Maybe.
Maybe, but maybe not. So many people have done it.
So many people.
He's so overrated. Overdone.
Overdone. Not overrated, but overdone. But there is also a show that was created on Netflix.
Yes.
Which is the lust kind of stalking.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you about a show that I found on Discovery Plus too.
Ooh.
Okay. Love Scorned.
Okay.
An acquaintance, coworker, neighbor, etc., who desires an intimate relationship with the victim, but is rebuffed.
Right. It's an unrequited love that turns into an obsession and maybe violence at times.
Right. Now, there's a subtype of the love scorn stalker, someone who has delusional disorder, erotomania, which like that just sounds scary. But this type of stalker, usually female, believes her target is madly in love with her.
Oh, yeah.
Like the woman who repeatedly broke into David Letterman's home and stole his car, claiming to be his wife.
Dang.
Wow. So celebrity is a type.
Yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen.
It's prevalent all the time. Like, you're not just it's like a groupie to the extreme.
Oh, yeah. I'm your number one fan. Those who stalk famous people, for example, John Hinckley, who I'm not going to talk about today, but we'll get there. Ooh. Political. Stalking motivated by political beliefs, which could include either agreement or disagreement with the victim. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I feel like that happens always.
Yeah.
I mean, the presidents who've had attempted assassinations or assassinations happen, those people weren't just random, like, murderers.
No,
they had a vendetta. They were stalking them. Yeah. Yep. And then the sixth type is a hit, murder for hire, stalking of a victim by a hired killer in order to commit murder. Now that one is kind of rare.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some stalkers who have hired hitmen, which is really interesting.
Oh, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So you're stalking your obsession and want to end their life, but don't want to do it yourself. So you hire someone out.
Right. Right. One of the stories that I did see recently was a female stalker. Her boyfriend had broken up with her and she just could not
handle it,
deal with that. She tried to kill him, but she hired somebody local to actually kill him, and he survived 7 gunshot wounds. Like, ooh, Lord.
That guy wanted to fight for his life.
Well, and he was a cop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was like,
we have an extra sense of fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we're fighting every day.
Exactly. So the 7th type, and I definitely agree that this needs to be added, revenge.
Oh, yeah. That would, I mean, yeah, it needs its
own type.
Like its own. Yeah.
An angry former employee, an aggrieved business partner, a resentful neighbor, a vindictive relative, or any other person, usually known to the victim, whose motive for stalking is payback. One example is the ex-con Max Cady in the movie Cape Fear, who stalks Sam Bowden, the lawyer who represented him at trial.
Right. There was a case of a father who stalked his child's pedophile murderer.
I mean,
and shot him. Yeah. So those type of things happen, which are revenge, but
right.
Yeah.
So I've got a quote from Vice.com because it was a good quote.
Yes.
Motivations for stalking include a delusional belief in romantic destiny, a desire to reclaim a prior relationship, a sadistic urge to torment the victim, or a psychotic over-identification with the victim, and the desire to replace him or her.
Mm-hmm.
That scares me.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
just have
Somebody,
your own life. Don't
yeah,
try and take
somebody,
mine.
somebody sees your life and is like, wow, you have such a great life. Give it to me.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck?
It's like, I worked hard for this.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
needing you to
so.
take it away.
Yeah. So first I'm going to talk about, I've got two different stories we're going to talk about, two different cases. This one is an important one because it kind of helped get the ball rolling on changing some laws.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
So we're going to talk about Prosenjit Podar. I did not look up how to say his name. Sorry, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Prosenjit
How do you
was
spell it?
He's from India.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's proper.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He was a student from Bengal, India, who attended Berkeley as a graduate student back in September of 1967.
Mm.
So back then, even well into the 90s, well into the 2000s, the early 2000s, most states still didn't have good stalking laws.
Right.
So there was nothing anybody could do, really. But he lived in the International House at Berkeley.
Okay.
In the fall of 1968, he attended a folk dancing class, which, like, how fun. And that's where he met Tatiana Tarasov.
Okay.
They started dating, but Tatiana broke it off with him because she just wasn't that into him. You
No
know,
connection.
it's the 60s, dude. Like, free love was everywhere.
Free love and applesauce.
And Berkeley, bro,
Yeah.
that was like the epicenter of free love.
Yeah. Like sunflowers and peace
Yes.
signs handed out on
Fuck
every
yes.
corner.
Fuck yeah. It was the heyday. But Prosenjit was really into Tatiana, like really into her. So much
Yeah.
so that he began stalking her. Prosenjit became depressed. In turn, he was neglecting his schoolwork and his health. He began keeping to himself. He would speak incoherently, like mumbling to himself, and was crying just like randomly.
Oh, he was in a very depressive state.
Yeah. Prosenjit would meet up with Tatiana and he would secretly record their conversations and try to find out why she didn't love him.
Oh. That's
like
sad.
When you're constantly like, why don't you love me? Like, bro, back off.
Yeah. It's like, that's just going to make her worse or feel worse about you.
I mean, I had a boyfriend you know him.
Mm-hmm.
When we were 15, 16, I broke up with him. He wouldn't quit like sulking around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm going to take him back.
I mean, because you were the it girl.
Yeah, but like, get over it. My stepdad finally went out and was like,
there were 15 men waiting to date Heidi in a row. Like, all right, that guy's time is done. Let me swoop in.
It was just funny though, because like my stepdad went out there and was like, dude, go home.
Right.
Go home.
Yeah.
You've officially been kicked out. This was at the coffee shop, by the way, for anybody who cares. Anyway. Okay. So now we're in the summer of 1969.
Ooh.
The summer of love.
Right.
But sadly not in this case.
No, it sounds like unlove happened.
Yeah. So Tatiana traveled to South America for that summer.
Nice.
During this time, Prosenjit actually began improving and started seeing a therapist, which, like, fuck yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lawrence Moore was a psychologist at the Student Health Service at Cowell Memorial Hospital in 1969. And Prosenjit told Lawrence Moore that he was going to kill Tatiana.
Oh, boy.
Lawrence Moore actually did what was not required of a therapist at that time. And he wrote to the campus police telling them that Prosenjit was suffering from acute severe paranoid schizophrenia. And he recommended that Prosenjit be committed because he was dangerous.
Okay.
However, they picked him up, but he was released quickly because he seemed to be rational. Yeah. To make matters even worse, Lawrence Moore's supervisor, Harvey Powelson, shame on you, Harvey, ordered that Prosenjit Padar not be subject to further detention.
Oh, boy.
Dude. So Tatiana and her parents were never even notified that Prosenjit was released.
Yeah.
Which really is fucking scary.
Yeah.
So when Tatiana
Not good.
returned home, she returned home in October of that year. By this time, Prosenjit had quit therapy, had become best friends with Tatiana's brother, and had moved in with him as a roommate.
Oh, creepy.
Right?
Ugh.
Here, let me just fucking insert myself.
Didn't the brother know?
I guess not.
Or he didn't care?
They probably just thought she was being crazy. Well, she probably didn't even know. You know what
dramatic.
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think he had even threatened her or anything.
No, I know, but like, Tatiana had, said, no, I'm not interested.
Right. Well,
but
some brothers are idiots. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So on October 27th, don't worry, I'm not talking about my brother Johnny. Love you, Johnny.
We love Johnny.
We're not talking about Johnny. Johnny would go
super protective and loving.
He's like go to the end of the earth to protect me. So
yeah.
On October 27th, 1969, Prosenjit carried out the plan he had told his therapist about, stabbing Tatiana to death.
Oh.
Tatiana Tarasov's parents ended up suing Lawrence Moore.
As they should.
And various other employees of the university, because what they didn't do is they didn't call the actual police. They didn't actually go the extra mile. But there weren't laws saying that they had to at this point.
Right. It was early and
it was still doctor patient, the fucking rules. It's stupid. But now those rules have been changed. So Prosenjit Padar was convicted of second-degree murder, and this just makes me angry as hell. But the conviction was overturned on the grounds that the jury had been inadequately instructed, and he was fucking released on the condition that he returned to India.
What?
That is such a bullshit slap on the wrist.
Well, not only that, but I mean, did they extradite him back to India, or was he just left to his own accord? Hey, go buy yourself a ticket and go home.
Who the fuck knows? It's scary. And you unleash him back to his own country where he can just do it to another person? Like, come on.
It's so bad.
Where's the humanity? Oof. Anyway.
Yeah.
But because of this case, according to Wikipedia, as of 2012, a duty to warn, 2012. Yikes.
That's crazy.
Took that long. A duty to warn or protect is mandated and codified in legislative statutes of 23 states. Only 23.
Yeah.
While the duty is not codified in a statute, but is present in the common law supported by precedent in 10 states. So that's something.
Right.
11 states have a permissive duty, and 6 states are described as having no statutes or case law offering guidance. Which, like, yikes. What states are those? Figure out. Everybody go look up your state's stalker laws, just so you know what's happening.
I know, you're making me want to have my crime books. Where's my elements?
Yeah, I think that we should look up those things and really know what we're dealing with. And let's start talking about getting those changed, people. That's how these things get changed. The people have to speak up.
That's right.
So, despite initial commentators' predictions of negative consequences for psychotherapy because of the Tarasov ruling, court decisions actually show otherwise.
Okay.
They're siding with victims, which is good.
Yeah.
So now we're going to cover a very famous stalker case. One that broke the hearts of many, many people. We're going to talk about Mark David Chapman, the man who murdered John Lennon.
Oh, yeah.
It's a doozy if you're a Beatles fan like me.
Yeah. Sad.
Very.
And we're about to relive the story.
I need a drink of coffee real quick.
I drank all mine.
More coffee, please.
More coffee.
Okay.
Where is my waitress?
Yes, bring me more coffee. So this case is the opposite of most stalking cases. Chapman stalked John Lennon because he hated him. And this hatred stemmed from the fact that Lennon said, jokingly, that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus.
I mean...
Which, see, you did it too. It's not just me. To me, that's true.
Yeah, and he was just having a...
Well, the Beatles were they were the band.
They were it.
They were
the thing for many years.
And for anybody who doesn't agree with that, don't fucking message us.
We don't want to hear it.
We really don't want to hear it. I love the Beatles, but
for their time, they were just...
I still rock out to them.
Yeah.
I wasn't even born we weren't born back then, but like,
no,
we grew up.
I mean, I may look that old, but I'm not that old.
You do not look that old. Holy shit. Oh, that was hysterical. Nah, we used to push all the couches aside in our house and have dance parties to the Beatles.
Yes.
So that shit was fun. Okay. So this really pissed off Chapman, who was extremely religious. He put together his plan to kill John Lennon. And sadly, he eventually did succeed, obviously. But this story also has an eerie twist, because the last known picture of John Lennon alive is one of him signing a book for Chapman.
Ooh.
Just hours before Chapman shot and killed him.
Dang.
So we're going to get into it now. Mark David Chapman was born on my birthday. Fuck you, Chapman.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck you. May 10th. Yep. May 10th, 1955. 55. In Fort Worth, Texas. Tejas.
Oh, boy.
So his father, also a David Chapman. He had his dad's like name, and he wasn't a junior, but like close.
They probably had different middle names.
Well, his name was Mark David Chapman. His dad's name was David Chapman.
David Chapman. Gotcha.
So his dad was in the U.S. Air Force, and his mom was a nurse. His mom's name is Diane. He had a younger sister, Susan, who was born 7 years later. Chapman said he was afraid of his father, who was physically abusive to his mother, and that his father never showed him love. So we have a case of nurture.
Right.
Chapman began fantasizing about having godlike power over a group of imaginary little people who lived in the walls of his bedroom.
Oh, great.
I think there's maybe more to it.
I think there's some mental health issues.
Yes, it sounds like it. By the time Chapman was 14, he was using drugs and skipping school. In 1971, 16-year-old Chapman became a born-again Presbyterian, and he met his girlfriend, his first girlfriend,
Okay.
Jessica Blankenship. I know that last name, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
He began working as a summer camp counselor at the South DeKalb County, Georgia YMCA. That was a mouthful. He was very popular with the kids. Like, everybody loved this guy.
Yeah.
And after winning an award for outstanding counselor, he was made assistant director.
Oh.
Which, when you're in that world, that's a very
big
big deal. Yeah. Chapman read J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye after a friend recommended it to him.
It's a good book.
Fun fact, I've never actually read that book, which
I've
is
read it like 10 times.
That's weird that I haven't read that book, right?
It is weird, but you also were rebellious in your school activities.
That's true. I read what I wanted to read.
Right. And then you finished out school out of,
Well, and I finished early.
Right. So you had your own path. I don't think you had to be a part of Catcher in the Rye.
Yeah. I don't know if I should read it.
It's a good book. But it is about mental health.
Maybe I'll read it. Maybe I wasn't ready for it yet.
Maybe not.
Maybe I'm ready now.
Maybe I need to read it again for the 11th time.
Let's have a book club. Okay. Let's not geek out. We digressed way. Okay.
All right.
So Chapman actually felt that The Catcher in the Rye was written for him. I'm just going to let that marinate for a second.
Yeah.
Some say he even thought it was written about him. Yeah.
He had some grand ideas about himself.
Yeah. So after graduating from Columbia High School, Chapman moved for a time to Chicago and played guitar in churches and Christian night spots while his friend did impersonations. He was living whatever dream he had. He worked successfully for World Vision with Vietnamese refugees at a resettlement camp at Fort Chaffee in Arkansas after a brief visit to Lebanon for the same work. So at this point, he sounds like he's a fucking amazing person.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing good things. And living a moral life.
Right.
Yeah.
He was named an area coordinator and a key aide to program director David Moore, who later said Chapman cared deeply for the children and worked hard. So still, everybody's like, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Chapman accompanied Moore to meetings with government officials, and he even got to shake President Gerald Ford's hand. So Chapman joined his girlfriend.
Same girlfriend?
Same girlfriend, as a student at Covenant College, which is an evangelical Presbyterian liberal arts college in Lookout Mountain, Georgia.
Really? Those two things don't really seem like they go together.
Right?
Christians and liberals.
The mind just went.
I was like, oh,
they're like, what?
Quite a mouthful for a school.
Yeah. However, Chapman fell behind in his studies and became obsessed with guilt after having an affair.
Oh, he cheated on his girlfriend.
Naughty, naughty.
Bad news.
So he started having suicidal thoughts and began to feel like a failure. Which, like,
I mean,
that could happen after you cheat. So,
yeah, you had impure thoughts, sir.
Yeah. He dropped out of Covenant College after just one semester, and his girlfriend broke off their relationship soon after.
Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So
So
good for her.
yeah, she dodged a bullet for real here. So Chapman returned to work at the resettlement camp, but left after an argument with the supervisor. So we can kind of start seeing his little bit of a downward spiral happening.
Right.
He then found work as an unarmed security guard, but eventually took a week-long course to qualify as an armed guard.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes. So in 1977, Chapman moved to Hawaii, where he attempted suicide by carbon monoxide asphyxiation.
Asphyxiation.
That is a word I don't use often. He connected a hose to his car's exhaust pipe, but the hose melted and the attempt failed. So
yeah, good.
And I think I forgot. I didn't put a trigger warning for that. Sorry, guys. Whoops. A psychiatrist admitted Chapman to Castle Memorial Hospital for clinical depression. Upon his release, he began working at the hospital.
Okay.
So after Chapman's parents began divorce proceedings, his mother joined him in Hawaii. So now his mom's living with him.
All right.
Which, I mean, that could be a good thing.
Yeah, he probably needed some support.
He needed some mom. I think he needed his mom. In 1978, Chapman went on a 6-week trip around the world. He began a relationship with his travel agent during that time. A Japanese American.
He had a lot of relationships of convenience.
Yeah. So she was a Japanese American woman named Gloria Abe, whom he ended up marrying on June 2nd, 1979. And they're still married today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Where did I go? Oh, no. There it is. Okay. So Chapman got a job at Castle Memorial Hospital as a printer, working alone rather than with staff and patients, which I think is probably better. But he was then fired by the hospital and later rehired, then broke into an argument with a nurse and finally quit.
That is a lot of
there's so much
going
happening.
On.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Now, after this, Chapman took a job as a night security guard and began drinking heavily. And
the downward spiral continued.
Yeah. This is when he starts really getting bad. He became obsessed with several things, including artwork, Catcher in the Rye, music, and John Lennon. Now, in September of 1980, he sent a letter to a friend, Linda Irish, in which he told her, quote, "I'm going nuts." And he signed the letter, "The Catcher in the Rye."
That was the letter? I'm going nuts?
Well,
or
that was one part.
Okay. It's like, that's really nuts.
Just literally signed it, "The Catcher in the Rye," though.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Now, real quick, prior to Chapman killing John Lennon, he actually had no criminal convictions.
Right.
He had somehow avoided all of this for a while. So, funny enough, Chapman was actually once a Beatles fan until that one interview when Lennon said they were more popular than Jesus. And with the new album release, John Lennon had just released Imagine.
Oh.
And if you really do look at the lyrics of Imagine, like, I think they're beautiful, but I could see how, like, some religious fanatics, sorry about that term, but like religious fanatics are a thing.
Yeah.
They could take it very wrong.
Right.
Because his lyrics said, "Imagine there's no heaven." And that one line just set Chapman off. He was angered beyond belief. And Chapman's prayer group made a joke in reference to Lennon's song Imagine. Quote, imagine if John Lennon was dead.
Oh, lovely.
So yeah, way to feed the fire, dumbasses.
Right?
Chapman's childhood friend, and also, I'm sorry, but like good religious church going folks
You don't
talk
wish
about people
harm on
dying.
anyone.
Yeah.
Even you
especially your
wish
enemies.
help. Yeah, you want to help those that you believe are sinning or whatever.
Yep.
You're not there to harm people and murder people because they have different beliefs than you.
Exactly.
That is not Christian at all.
Nope. Chapman's childhood friend, Miles McManouche, what a name.
That is.
That's amazing. Recalled that he said that the song Imagine was communist.
There's so many interpretations for people's things. It's
a fucking song.
It's a song.
During a time in America where like shit was pretty scary. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But apparently Chapman had already actually started planning the murder about 3 months before it even happened. There was more that pissed off Chapman. Of course. There was a book by Anthony Fawcett called John Lennon, One Day at a Time, and it was about Lennon's lifestyle in New York. According to Chapman's wife, he was angry that Lennon would preach love and peace, but yet have millions. Like, you can't be loving and peaceful and have millions. Like,
I mean,
are you?
He built an empire. He's allowed to have his money.
He fucking earned it.
I'm pretty sure he gave too.
And so many people, I just feel like he brought emotional peace to so many with his music.
Right.
So, it's just so sad. Oh. So Chapman himself said, quote, he told us to imagine no possessions, and there he was with millions of dollars and yachts and farms and country estates, laughing at people like me who had believed the lies and bought the records and built a big part of their lives around his music. When was John Lennon ever laughing about? This is the thing.
If you can't see, I'm scratching my head over this because I'm just like,
he's having delusions about.
Yeah.
It's like putting words in somebody else's mouth. They didn't say that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So Chapman was showing some very obsessive behavior leading up to the murder. He would listen to John Lennon's singles over and over, making him more and more angry. So
just fueling his own fire. He's like, oh, the piece of shit.
Yep. The songs were, according to Chapman, saying that God didn't exist and that John Lennon only believed in him and Yoko. But like, if you can't believe in your own little family, what can you believe in? So go fuck yourself, Chapman. The profanity in me right now is boiling out. But all of this is just his opinion. Song lyrics hold different meanings to everyone. That's what makes music so amazing. Unfortunately, Chapman was in a state of total rage and darkness. He has said in an interview with Barbara Walters, which like
Walters,
I will tell you about it because you're definitely going to want to go watch that.
Yes.
That he had demons inside of him and that he had asked Satan to help him have the strength to kill John Lennon. Yeah.
More scratching of foreheads.
So, yeah, if you watch that interview, you're going to be like, he is so fucking full of shit.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about
delusional.
it. He was delusional. Well, and he says he's reformed now.
Whatever.
But like, I am sorry, you are full of shit, sir.
Yeah. And what was his wife doing this whole time?
Oh, you know, ignoring it.
Oh, boy.
Well, and he was traveling a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
December 7th, Chapman attacked singer James Taylor, who, like, yeah, James Taylor, in a subway station. He also
What?
reportedly offered cocaine to a taxi driver, which, like, I think that was kind of common back then, but like, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that night, Chapman and his wife talked on the phone about getting help with his problems by first working on his relationship with God. So I think, yeah, she was in Hawaii still. He's in
Oh,
New York.
right.
So yeah, she had a clue, but he hadn't acted on anything yet.
Right. It was
So
more just outwardly verbal and
yeah.
frustrated.
So on the morning of December 8th, Chapman left his hotel room, leaving personal items behind that he wanted the police to find. And he went and bought another copy of The Catcher in the Rye, in which he wrote, "This is my statement," signing it Holden Caulfield, which is the protagonist of Catcher in the Rye.
Right. The main character.
He spent most of that day near the entrance to the apartment building where Yoko Ono and John Lennon and their son, Sean, lived. Now, their son was only 5 at the time, talking to fans and the doorman. So he was just like hanging out.
Oh.
There were a bunch of fans, I guess. Early that morning, I guess Chapman had been distracted and missed seeing Lennon getting out of a cab and going into the apartment building. Later in the morning, he ran into Lennon's housekeeper, who had been out on a walk with their 5-year-old son. So Chapman, creepy, reached in front of the housekeeper to shake Sean's hand and said that he was a beautiful boy, quoting Lennon's song, "Beautiful boy, darling boy."
Ugh.
What the fuck, creeper dude?
So creepy.
Heebie-jeebies.
Gives me chills.
God. So that evening, he's been there all fucking day. That evening around 5 p.m., John Lennon and Yoko Ono were leaving the apartment building to go to a recording session at Record Plant Studios. As they were walking to their limousine, Chapman held out a copy of Lennon's album, Double Fantasy, for Lennon to sign. And there just happened to be an amateur photographer there named Paul Gorish. And he actually snapped a picture as Lennon signed the album, and Lennon was like super cordial and kind. And
he didn't know.
Chapman even said so. He said, quote, he wasn't the fraud that he thought he was. He wasn't the sellout that he thought he was.
And yet he still murdered him.
And he still killed him. So
maybe his impulse to follow through was too strong.
Chapman also stated in an interview that he tried to get the photographer to stay and like get him the picture quickly. And he asked another loitering Lennon fan to go out with him that night. He also said that he would not have murdered Lennon that evening if the other fan had accepted his invitation or if the photographer had stayed, but that he probably would have attempted it another day.
Yeah.
He would have.
The obsession was too strong.
Yeah. So now it's around 10:50 p.m. John and Yoko returned to the apartment building. They got out of the limo, they passed by Chapman and walked toward the archway entrance of the building. Chapman was now standing behind them at the street, and he just like fired 5 rounds. So, yeah.
Just shot him in the back?
Yep, with a .38 special revolver, 4 of which hit Lennon in the back and shoulder. But
she didn't get shot.
No. Chapman didn't run away. He stayed at the scene and was reading The Catcher in the Rye when the NYPD officers arrived and arrested him.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. The first responders realized that Lennon's wounds were severe and decided not to wait for an ambulance. They rushed him in to the hospital in a squad car.
That was good thinking, except
didn't work.
Yeah.
Lennon was pronounced dead on arrival. 3 hours later, during a police interview, Chapman said, "I'm sure the big part of me is Holden Caulfield." who is the main person in the book. The small
Mhm.
part of me must be the devil.
Man, he was delusional. He
Yeah.
was really off his rocker.
Yeah. Chapman was ultimately charged with second-degree murder, which doesn't make much sense to me, considering it was premeditated.
Right, but he probably got a plea deal. Did they go to trial?
I don't know. Hold
He
on.
probably got a plea deal. That's why it's a lesser.
Yeah, probably. He told the police that he used hollow point bullets to ensure Lennon's death,
Yeah, I mean,
which that's why I use them for when I have to hunt predators.
well, that's what we're
But
getting.
now I don't have to. So,
Yeah.
because chickens are locked up. Anyway.
I'm sure it's been much better.
Even though Chapman's wife, Gloria, had known of her husband's plan for killing Lennon, she took no action because Chapman did not follow through at the time. Like, what, are you just going to wait till he fucking shoots him?
Okay, let's just wait. Wait
So
until he tries?
Yeah, exactly. So she was not charged. Chapman later said that he harbored a deep-seated resentment toward his wife. It's not her fucking fault.
What?
That she did not go to somebody, even the police, and say, look, my husband's bought a gun and he says he's going to kill John Lennon. Like, you can't put your blame on other people. Just saying.
So what? He wanted someone to stop him? Like he was mad at his wife because she didn't go out there. And
that's narcissistic behavior.
That is 100%.
So journalist James R. Gaines interviewed Chapman extensively. He actually came to the conclusion that Chapman didn't kill John Lennon to become a celebrity, which I agree. He didn't do it to become celebrity.
Right.
According to Chapman in a later parole hearing, he had an alternate hit list of potential targets in mind.
That doesn't make any sense either, because his whole thing was fueled towards revenge, like hate and revenge towards
Remember that he did attack James Taylor.
Right, which
I think that
I didn't understand why he attacked him.
I think he just hated celebrities because they had money. They had all this stuff that he didn't
and a voice.
Yeah, probably. So Paul McCartney, Johnny Carson, Elizabeth Taylor, George C. Scott, Jackie Kennedy Onassis. She was so hot. Fucking love her. Her style was on point.
Yeah, she's classic. Lovely.
Ronald Reagan and the Hawaii governor at the time, George Ariyoshi.
Okay, that's right.
In 2010, he said that the only criterion for the list was being famous and that he chose Lennon out of convenience, which, like, he's full of shit.
But yeah,
that's full of shit.
That contradicts everything.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So there are also rumors that Chapman had traveled to Woodstock, New York during one of his visits to the state in search of Todd Rundgren, which was another target of obsession. And for those who don't know who that is, he's also a rock star. Very good. Chapman was wearing a t-shirt for Rundgren's album Hermit of Mink Hollow when he was arrested, and had a copy of Runt, the Ballad of Todd Rundgren, in his Manhattan hotel room. So Todd Rundgren dodged a bullet, quite literally.
Sounds like it.
So on the day of the murder, or maybe it was the day after the murder. Anyway, I think it was the day of the murder. David Bowie was appearing in the Broadway play, The Elephant Man.
Oh.
Here's a bit from David Bowie's own mouth.
Ooh.
So we've got what he had to say. I was second on his list. Yeah. Chapman had a front row ticket to The Elephant Man the next night.
Wow.
John and Yoko were supposed to sit front row for that show too.
Dang.
I can't tell you how difficult that was to go on. I almost didn't make it through the performance. Oh, so the night after John was killed, there were 3 empty seats in the front row. Like, how sad. Like, knowing what happened.
Right.
But that he almost didn't make it through the performance. That's so sad. It's also sad.
Yeah.
Chapman went to New York in October 1980, intending to kill Lennon, but left to obtain ammunition from his unwitting friend in Atlanta before returning in November. During his October trip to New York, Chapman was inspired by the film Ordinary People to stop his plans. So this almost didn't happen. He returned to Hawaii and told his wife that he had been obsessed with killing Lennon. Chapman showed her the gun and bullets, but she did not inform the police or mental health services. Chapman later said that the message, "Thou shalt not kill," flashed on the television at him and was on a wall hanging that his wife put up in their apartment. So he made an appointment to see a clinical psychologist, but he canceled it and flew back to New York on December 6th, 1980. So it was just almost avoided. And that's my case. That's it. That's the story.
I mean, most of us all
celebrate.
know about that story, but not the detail.
Not in depth.
Yeah. This really took us in depth, and it really gave me more info than I knew about. So
yeah,
thank you for sharing.
Same. So my sources, there is this isn't really a source for this specifically. It's more for me to get a better understanding of stalkers. There's a show on Discovery Plus called Stalked, Someone's Watching, that's actually really good, and it'll give insight for sure. And from what I understand, it has been rebooted under a slightly different name, so I would Google that.
Okay.
And then I also used Google, Wikipedia, Vice.com, and there's a Barbara Walters investigation discovery thing called The Man Who Shot Lennon. That is on Discovery Plus also.
Okay.
So that's it. That's my case. Yikes.
I liked how you talked about the different definitions of stalking too. That was good information, so people can understand that a little bit more too.
Yeah. Having experienced, yikes. Yeah. I think at some point everybody has experienced some type.
I had one
of that, which is scary. I had one at the coffee shop, a female, but it was nipped in the bud real quick.
Yeah, I had a day stalker. Remember when I was working Home Depot?
I don't know if I
way back in the day.
Yikes.
Yeah. Followed me because I used to take the bus and the trolley.
I do remember this, but I think I forgot about the whole
thing. On the bus when I got on the bus, and then switched over to the trolley, and then switched the other trolley, and then followed me into the store. And that's when customers were like, "You're not okay." I was like, "No, I'm not." So I went right into my manager, and they had me hide out in the loss prevention office, and they called the cops. And but he was just like a crazy homeless man, apparently.
There were plenty of those in San Diego. Yes. The shit that we see on fucking public transportation is disturbing.
That's so bad.
Like, I took the bus from a young age. I think we both did, probably.
Yeah.
Like, I used to take the bus to school, and there would be like homeless men jacking off in the back. You're like, dude, put it away.
It's inappropriate.
I'm a child.
So inappropriate. Most of my life I took public transport, especially when we went traveling around the world and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that was the longest bus ride of my life, going to visit you.
Yes, that one is 26 hours.
Whew. Yeah.
Mazatlan.
Yeah. Oof. People would like
going 90 miles an hour.
People would like tear it up on the bus. They would be like ripping ass, and then they would spray perfume. And you're just like, God damn. Stop.
So bad.
All the smells are killing me. They had like chickens in cages on top of the bus. It was a wild time.
Oh yeah. If you've never taken a bus in Mexico, you haven't lived.
Definitely recommend it. 11 out of 10. Waking up with a gun in your face is super fun too.
Oh,
those were the days.
Yes. Those were the times of our lives.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Yeah, we'll talk to y'all next time. Ta-ta!
For now.
Thanks for listening to Crime, Coffee, and Crafts. If you love our podcast, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. This helps us more than you know. If you really love us and want to support us, go to our website at www.crimecoffeeandcrafts.com. From there, you can join our Patreon, shop our merch, and find us on social media.